Hi, my name's Amanda Jackson and I'm a mental health first aid instructor for MHFA England. So what I'd like to do today is talk to you about mental health. What does it mean to you in this unusual situation that we find ourselves in? So there are a lot of opinions and judgments about mental health, and this can lead to high levels of stigma and worry about talking about how we feel around our mental health. So I'd like to dispel some rumours or some misunderstandings around mental health, so it gives you better decisions and a better understanding of what you can do to look after yourself. I'd like to share with you some information about mental health, what it can mean to you, its relationship to mental illness, and how stress, emotions, and anxiety all play a part. So firstly, what is mental health? The World Health Organization defined mental health as, and I'm going to read it to you. Mental health is defined as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her own community. Now, I'd like you just to have a think about what that actually means and what your community is. It might be your school community, how you contribute to that. It might be your close-knit home community, or it might be your street, the environment where you live in, or that sort of community. And it can be different for different people, and that's okay. So it's thinking about your mental health is how you can feel that you can support and contribute within your group, within your circle of influence. So we all have mental health. It's not a choice. We all have it, just like we all have physical health. Some people can run 5K, some people can do a marathon, some people can swim, some people can play football for 90 minutes, some people can't. We all have different levels of physical health, just like we all have different levels of mental health. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. But what we need to realise is we all have mental health, and we all need to understand how we can keep our mental health as strong as possible. Now, one of the things that people get confused about, and it's really easy to do so, is we get confused about mental health and mental illness. And these two elements are different. So we could have somebody who has got a mental illness, maybe has got a diagnosis of depression, but actually they may have some really good mental health. Okay, the support, maybe the medication that they're receiving actually is meaning that they're feeling really good, even though they've got a diagnosis of a mental illness. And somebody who hasn't got a diagnosis of mental illness, but is feeling really low or sad or struggling, feeling quite stressed or anxious, actually they've got poor mental health. It doesn't mean you've got a mental illness. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about your mental health, okay? So it's okay to say your mental health isn't very good or you're struggling without people assuming, or without you assuming, you've got a mental illness. As I said before, mental health can often be looked at as how we feel, react, or behave about ourselves or about things that happen around us. And one of the biggest things that affects this is our stress levels. Now, at the moment, we are going through huge amounts of stress because everything is changing, and change is one of the biggest things that causes us stress. We can't go to school at the moment. Now, some people might be going, yes, no school. But actually, that does give a structure. And actually, suddenly that's been taken away from us, whether we like it or not. That structure, that change has happened to us and not in consultation with us. So now we are at home with our parents, our siblings, the people that look after us, without any choice. We've been told we're not allowed to go out. We've been told that things are being minimised. And although actually, we may be now coming past that peak and coming through the other end of the situation that we're in, we're still in it. We are still in it, and we've still experienced it for the last goodness knows how many weeks. So we need to appreciate the fact that we're in huge amounts of change, and this is causing us stress. And this is because evolutionary, our brain looks at change and thinks it's dangerous because we're not quite sure what's going to happen. So lots of different chemicals and hormones get released around the body that cause us to be on high alert. And when this happens, it can make us be irrational, it can make us very angry, or it can make us cross, it can make us snap at people because we're on high alert for any danger. What we need to think about is, what can we do to try and dampen down some of the hormonal and chemical changes in our body, so actually we are making better and more informed choices about how we are living our lives. So focusing on stress for a few minutes. We all respond to stress differently, different levels of stress. So that can lead to some confusion. So when one person experiences something and they feel really stressed out, we might be looking at them going, well, we experience that all the time. Why are they getting stressed out about that? That's just normal, or they just need to get over themselves. And it's really easy to have judgments like that. But what we need to understand is we all have different levels of ability to cope with stress. And that's okay. There's nothing right or wrong about what level you are at. The important thing is to understand what that level might be for you. So what I'd like you to think about is, next time you're feeling really stressed out, what is causing that? Are you able to pinpoint the things that are actually causing you to be feeling the way you're feeling? And also, what behaviours are you demonstrating? So are you suddenly pacing about? Are you suddenly now not able to sit down? Are you talking really fast? Are you disappearing into yourself and disappearing into your room and not wanting to talk to anybody? I'd like you to start pinpointing what behaviours are you actually demonstrating, because when you can start identifying those, you will then start realising you're getting stressed, and you can start putting some things in place to stop that stress level from getting to the point where you are pacing around or getting really shouty or angry. We often call it flipping your lid. So actually, if you think about this as your brainstem and your head, and you've got what you call your emotional brain, your amygdala, tucked right inside your head, and your prefrontal cortex here is protecting it, and it's being really rational, and it's making some really great decisions. But something's happening that's causing you to be getting a bit more stressed and a bit more anxious, and your amygdala is starting to sort of twitch a little bit because it can hear it, and it's not happy with what's going on. And actually, this might be where you're starting to pace a little bit more, because this is now twitching, but it's okay, because your rational bit of the brain is keeping it safe. But suddenly something happens and you flip your lid, and your rational bit of the brain can't cope anymore, and suddenly now your amygdala is free to be shouting at somebody or saying exactly what they think, which afterwards you realise might not been the best thing. And actually, what you need to try and do is keep your rational bit of the brain as strong as possible, so we keep our amygdala tight in there. Okay, so when we think about stress and what's causing you stress, what's causing your amygdala to start getting excited and want to start shouting or getting cross with people? And we need to start identifying what that might be. So write things down. As you realise what you might be feeling, start writing down some of the things that are causing you to do this. And talk to somebody about it, be it a teacher, be it a parent, or a sibling, auntie, uncle, whoever that might be, whoever you feel safe to talk to that person about what it is that you're starting to notice. And you can start putting plans in place. What I'm going to talk to you about now is actually how can we try and keep our prefrontal cortex as strong as possible. So even when this is starting to get a bit excited, we can keep it at bay as long as possible. So the first thing we can be thinking about is routine, your routines. Second one is exercise. Third one is thinking about your feelings. Fourth one is opportunities that there may be at the moment. And the fifth one is about connection. And we're going to go through those in more detail for each one.